Curtis,
Hey.
I totally saw the Mariners sweeping the Tigers. I'm assuming you did too.
Totally.
Honestly, it was by less runs in the ninth than I thought.
If you go back and play our Friday show, it was full of optimism.
Yes.
It was full of joie de vivre.
I know, that's right.
It was everything hopeful about this team.
You know what
we
I'll
knew
say?
It was happening.
While it was not full of everything hopeful per se, I will say, and you can go back and listen, that both of us on that Friday show were like, why does anyone want to give up on the season? It's July.
True.
Like, I know that you just got swept by the Yankees, particularly if you're from here, but also anyone in baseball. You kind of grow up hating the Yankees, and so that one stings. And just the way that they lost, you had a no-hitter going into the eighth, right? Carried it through the seventh. No-hitter going into the eighth, up 5-0. And you lost? What? What are we talking about? So I get it. We were all feeling it. But we were standing on business.
Yes.
10 toes down, saying, guys, look, why would you not want to buy at the deadline, really push forward? Maybe you can take a win from Detroit. Maybe you can have a really competitive series and feel really good. Little did I know they'd be putting up, double-digit runs in 2 games.
It was the most runs. It was the most runs they scored in a series since 2002.
It's awesome. It was great.
35 over a 3-game stretch, and 2 of those games were started by all-star pitchers.
And now we got to watch Cal in the Derby. Before we get to any of that, though, before we get to some other news we've got around Seattle, let's start with this series. Just taking a quick look back, what we liked, what we loved, and what we disliked. Curtis, what did you like?
What I loved Cal's Friday night, specifically the Grand Slam, specifically home run number 38, one shy of Barry Bonds' first half record.
Now the stretch and the 2-2 on the way, swinging a well-hit ball deep to left field, and Grandma, get out the right bread and mustard. It is Grand Salami time. Cal Raleigh with his 3rd Grand Slam of the season puts this game away. Number 38 on the year. He hit number 37 in the 8th inning. And now he is just 1 home run away from Barry Bonds for hitting the most home runs in the first half of a season prior to the All-Star break. Number 38 way up into the bleachers in left field here at Comerica Park.
It's funny because coming into the series, I think maybe everybody was like, oh, maybe Cal's starting to cool down a little bit. He only hit the 1 home run
to be fair,
New York.
He hadn't been making a ton of contact. He'd become like that 3 true outcome. He was either getting a home run, walking, or striking out.
Yeah.
Or
and
flying out, I should say.
He hits the home run earlier in that game and then caps off the blowout victory with the Grand Slam in, the 9th inning of Friday's game on Apple TV. It looked so crystal clear. And watching that ball, I could track the entire flight pattern of that ball as it landed in the stands. But that was a phenomenal start to the series. And little did we know that was only going to be like the start of how good things got over the weekend.
I've been running out of ways. I ended up tweeting holy because I couldn't think of how else to describe what I wanted to say. And what I wanted to say was, after watching him get his 37th home run, who I didn't know that it would leave the park, I thought, is this going to hit the wall? Is this going to be like a ground rule double kind of situation? No, it ended up being a home run just over. You see the guys in the bullpen freak out, lifting their arms in the air. And then when he hit the 38th, there's a moment before he hits it where you think, it would be really cool if he did this, but
I'm not expecting it.
I'm not expecting it because you just think, this is too storybook. It's too unbelievable. It's laughably kind of unbelievable. And then he hits the home run. It's a grand slam, and his final home run of the first half, or just before the All-Star break, I should say, ends up being a grand slam. Yeah, you don't get to 39 like Barry Bonds. You ended up with an extra stolen base, though.
That's true.
We'll get to that a little bit later. But you did end up with your final home run, number 38, being a grand slam. And, yeah, I think that's how I would sum up the first part of the season for Cal. I'm fascinated to see how they pitch to him in the second half, how this team responds. But it is that feeling that I had a hard time articulating of, there's no way this happens again, right? And then it does, and then you run out of more words to say.
Well, and if you ask Cal what was the best part of his weekend, he would have to say the sweep. That's what he cares most about in all of this. And he's just, in all of his success, he's basically like, well, I got to do my part. This is what I'm doing right now to help the team out. If it means I got to hit 60 plus home runs, I'll do it, because that's just what he's capable of right now. But him having that moment on Friday night leading into what Saturday was for this team, and then Sunday, the craziness of yesterday's ball game, it was so fun to see.
Speaking of the craziness of yesterday's ball game, let me get to what I liked from this one. So I'm going to co-sign on Cal, and I'm going to add Jorge Polanco having a really solid series. This was Sunday, pinch hit home run in the ninth.
Here's the stretch, and the 1-2 on the way to Polanco. Swing and a well-hit ball deep to right field. How about this? Goodbye, baseball. And Polanco unties it. The Mariners' 4th home run of the afternoon, and it's now the Mariners 5 and the Tigers 4. It is home run derby before the home run derby in Atlanta. So Jorge Polanco with home run number 15 on the year. It's the Mariners 5 and the Tigers 4.
Here's what I really liked about this series. You had Cal getting 2 home runs on Friday, including a grand slam. They absolutely dominate the Tigers, and all of it happens on Apple TV, so there's more of a national audience, national voices that are watching this, and you're kind of treated to like the Cal story then, and that's really awesome. I also liked, and I don't think Cal would take this as a slight, that Cal was not the story of the next 2 games. He had no other hits. He walked. He was intentionally walked and drew walks, and then had a sac fly, still accounted for an RBI. But Cal was otherwise not a massive factor in terms of knocking in runs, getting hits for the next 2 games, and the Mariners still won. That's what we'd been begging for.
And not just winning, but putting up tons of runs.
Exactly.
Without the home run swing of Cal Raleigh.
It was the Julio show, the Randy show. Jorge Polanco gets back involved, and so that's what I really, really liked. And I liked that Randy had been heating up, but I liked that Polanco and some other guys who had been guys that we were praising back in April and heading into May, and then had kind of gotten hurt or gone a little quiet. I liked that they were part of a story again.
Well, and you look at Polanco's numbers in May and June, only had 2 combined home runs between those 2 months, one on May 12th against the Yankees, and then one on June 13th against the Guardians. So far in July, he already has 4 home runs. That pinch hit home run yesterday, which was his first career pinch hit home run. He had a 3-run shot against the Yankees in that 10-inning loss to them. But, yeah, he has looked like he's found a little bit of that April magic that we were just kind of like, I don't know if that was a fluke or if that's who Jorge Polanco is. He's got the OPS back up to 785, which is highly respectable. That is a very passable OPS, especially for somebody that's going to be DHing a lot, that's going to be playing a little bit in the field for the rest of the season, but that is a very important bat for what the Mariners want to do. And when he is hitting, it lengthens your lineup. It's not just JP, Julio, Cal, and Randy.
Yeah.
You can add a 5th to that. You can add, a 6th to that.
So from the series, you liked Cal's Friday night. I liked Jorge Polanco having a solid series and getting that pinch hit home run. What did you love from this series?
I loved Julio's entire weekend. It wasn't just with the bat, which is the standout thing. It's the thing that we've been clamoring the most for, but also coming up with the nice outfield assist yesterday, getting Gleyber Torres going to third. But the bat, to me, that is the most important thing that we saw this weekend. And in all the runs that were scored, it was Julio Rodriguez, not just, driving in runs, but putting them in the seats.
Here's the 1-2. Swung on, that is ripped to right field. Verling back, he's looking up, and it is in the seats. It is gone. Home run, Julio. He is homered in 3 straight games, a missile the other way. Over the right field wall, and Julio is surging. He has cut the lead in half. It's Tigers 2, Mariners 1.
It's funny because you look in the context of his season, and that was a really standout weekend, but it was a standout weekend by just baseball standards. OptaStats had this. Julio's 17 total bases, 4 walks, and 2 steals over this weekend's 3-game series. Only 2 other players in the modern era have reached those numbers in a 3-game series. Barry Bonds did it in 1987 with the Pirates, and then Mike Schmidt did it in 1975. Mike Schmidt is an Inner Circle Hall of Famer. Barry Bonds should be an Inner Circle Hall of Famer. Not to say that that's what Julio's path is going to be, but those 2 are 2 of the best to ever do it. And the fact that Julio was able to match those kinds of numbers in this weekend series, it shows what we all have kind of known this season. Like, this is what you're capable of, dude. Like, this is who you can be.
Yeah.
And to see it on display against the best team in the American League, that was what I loved this weekend.
I think that's why I always hit pause and even get defensive about people who say, no, I think Julio's a bust and it's not going to work out. And it's like, wait a minute. Like, this guy has it. He has all of that skill. He has all of that potential. He's got this, you can, cringe at star power, but it's because he has all of these weapons. The limitations are self-imposed, whether it's tweaking his swing, whether it's mental, whether it's a launch angle, an attack angle, whatever it is that's getting more ground balls this year, trying to cut down on strikeouts, whatever approach he's making, all of the limitations he has are self-imposed. It is not that he doesn't have it in terms of like already possessing that capability, and that's what makes Julio so fascinating. It's why I push back on that idea of him not having it, and that's why I get excited about not just a single game, but about a series where he absolutely takes off, because you go, oof, what if Julio hits the ground running against Houston?
What if this is the Julio?
Would you almost rather that there was this series against Houston coming up beginning, let's say
Today?
tomorrow, as opposed to Friday?
Oh, absolutely.
Or does Julio kind of benefit from having a week off?
It can't hurt, but for momentum's sake, which I know a lot of people are like, momentum doesn't exist, but I think it does in baseball. I think Julio having these 4 days off, it will be hard to get back to what he had in this Tigers series just immediately with Houston coming to town on Friday. But I think just you have this series coupled with the pressure being off of, showing up to the All-Star game and playing and having to go through all that chaos, which, all the 4 other All-Stars are going through. I think it was just refreshing to see Julio just with that weight off his shoulders. You could see it on Sunday when he hit the home run round in third base. He had the biggest smile as he was dapping up, Christopher Negron over at third base. I think just seeing that Julio, it really goes to show just how important he is to everything that goes on with this Mariners ball club.
Something else I loved is that this series was so great that there are names we haven't mentioned.
Right.
You know what I mean? We've not said a single thing, not just about your pitching or some great relief performances. Maybe it's Bizarro getting a critical out. Maybe it's, whatever it is. We haven't mentioned Canzone. We haven't mentioned your rookies. We haven't mentioned so many other things. And I love that there is so much good to talk about with this series that you aren't scraping by trying to find a compliment. You're going, oh my God, and how dare I not have mentioned fill in the blank? How dare we not have mentioned, for instance, more about Randy Arozarena?
He has not slowed down at all. He has hit more home runs in this 13-game stretch than he had in the previous 70 plus before this run. 9 home runs in his last 13 games. He's up to 17 now. I'm almost wondering, should he be a late addition to the home run derby? He's just on such a heater.
Let him in.
Here's the pitch to Randy. Swung on, hit high, deep, left field. Has he done it again? He has! Bye-bye, Randy Arozarena. His 9th home run in his last 13 games. He is on fire. The All-Star crushing it into the All-Star break. And this game is tied 2 apiece as the boos rain down in Detroit on Randy Arozarena.
This is the heater that we all knew that he had within him. We've seen it from him throughout his entire
when
career.
It matters most,
exactly.
Yeah.
He's always been a really clutch bat, and just to be able to have him hitting the ball the way that he has over the last 2 weeks, starting with that 2-home run game against Kansas City and not slowing down at all through the All-Star break, incredible to see. And there's a growing movement on social media to extend Randy Arozarena, and I have to be in lockstep with those people.
Absolutely agree.
I think you got to keep him here.
And to push
season.
back against, I know that conversation we were having Friday about some people who wanted to sell. In terms of the pieces people wanted to sell, I think Randy Arozarena was an unspoken piece there. Even though he's not necessarily set to be a free agent, you do have a big decision to make about him. And at this point, I go, who possibly could upgrade you? Who could possibly be an upgrade? It would be punting on your season to move on from Randy. He makes you better. He's a very important piece you need to make a playoff run. Last thing I want to add before we get to disliked is loving that this series did immediately follow a really gut-punching one. So loving that this team was able to compartmentalize, move on, put it in the rear view, go out and just dominate the, right now, best team in baseball.
It was, I can't remember a more violent swing of where we were to end a week and where we are now to start a week.
And
because the sky was falling on Friday.
Yeah, and then these guys came in and truly lifted it up with both hands and said, wait a minute, we're not quite done here. And that can be one of the frustrating things about a team that is a little more volatile, but I think we saw a better look at what their ceiling could be when everyone's healthy and everything's on, and that's great. Before we keep it moving to headline rewrites, disliked the one knock on the weekend, Curtis.
Those cowardly Detroit Tigers and their manager, A.J. Hinch, for walking Cal Raleigh in his final plate appearance of Sunday with an opportunity to tie Barry Bonds' first half record for home runs.
Have you no respect for history?
I mean, it's A.J. Hinch. He's the manager of the 2017 Astros.
The Tigers are not a team of scholars. I'll say that.
Definitely not. Learn your history, Tigers. You could have been part of a moment bigger than yourselves yesterday.
And you chose instead to walk Cal.
Truly, there was no real reason to be mad this weekend about the Mariners.
No, and in choosing to walk Cal, Cal was also able to steal his 10th base of the season, which put him in another group of 38 home runs and 10 stolen bases.
Yeah, it was Reggie Jackson, the only person to do that.
So, I mean, either way, it's a win-win for Cal. I'm sure he'd rather have a bomb, tie Barry Bonds at 39, right? Like an absolutely unreal feat. But I think Cal is very, very happy about his stolen bases and probably loved getting to double digits.
Yeah, I think he was more than thrilled with the outcome of the series.
All right.